Hello, everybody! Welcome to another episode of Vespors Retro Reviews. I'm Ramses,
And I'm the Vespor.
and today we're going to do another review of one of our favorite movies of all time. Just as we recently passed the 20th anniversary of the release of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the movie was released November 16th, 2001.
This movie was based off J.K. Rowling's 1997 novel of the same name. It was directed by Chris Columbs, and they had John Williams as the main composer.
Released by Warner Brothers, and just so you guys know, the movie did very well. It cost $125 million to make, and it made over $1 billion worldwide. So we're talking about a big movie here. And the movie has a runtime of 152 minutes, so about 2 hours and a half. Not too bad. This movie won't feel like it's long, as we're about to explain to you in a little bit. And now, with that all out of the way, let's look at the cast of this movie. We're not going to go into each cast member because there was a lot of cast members, but we will focus on the main cast just so we get an idea of who we're dealing with before we jump into the crux of the movie and what we thought about it.
So you couldn't have a Harry Potter movie without Harry Potter. And that character is portrayed by Daniel Radcliffe.
Daniel Radcliffe obviously is most well known for his portrayal as Harry Potter in the Harry Potter movies, and he was in all 8, and he's already, as of this video, has done 27 films. Can you believe it? Yes. 14 television show appearances and various stage productions. Who portrayed one of the next main characters in the movie?
That would be Rupert Grint as Ron Weasley, Harry's best friend.
That's right. And Rupert Grint is not a big actor. He's a very nice guy from what I understand in real life, but didn't become a big actor. Not every actor from this movie went on to big things. He was in many films, TV shows, and small productions after this, but nothing to write home about. Who was that third main member of the trio with Harry Potter?
That would be Emma Watson as Hermione Granger. She makes 2 really good friends in Harry and Ron.
Now, unlike Rupert Grint, Emma Watson did become a very big star. She went on to do many, many things, and we're definitely not going to mention all here, but she's probably one of the big stars out of the original children that appeared in this movie. She's pretty much well known for her portrayal in Beauty and the Beast, The Circle, Little Woman, This is the End. No, she's been in everything and every place you could think of. So her career is going pretty well, good for her. And of course, we have many adult actors who take up the rest of the cast in this movie. We're not going to go into full detail of them. We'll just give quick mentions of them, of any notable actors.
So, what we have first on our list is John Cleese from Monty Python as Nearly Headless Nick, the ghost of Gryffindor House. Then we have another famous actor in Richard Harris as Albus Dumbledore, who is Hogwarts headmaster and is one of the most famous wizards of all time. Then we have John Hurt as Mr. Ollivander, a highly regarded wand maker. Then we have Alan Rickman as Severus Snape. He's the potions master and, of course, the headmaster for Slytherin House. He was in Die Hard.
That's right. And he also was in
Galaxy Quest.
That's right. And then we also have Robbie Coltrane. He played Rufus Hagrid. He's the Hogwarts gamekeeper, the guy who's a half giant. Let's see, Warwick Davis. He's the little guy in the movie. And he has 2 roles. Professor Flitwick.
He also dubs the voice of the head of Goblin Teller, the first one where they go in here and says, "Does Mr. Harry Potter have a key?" So you're wondering, why does this guy sound familiar? Well, he actually in this quite a bit. You just don't realize it.
Yeah, and Griphook, by the way, was played with Vern Troyer, who's unfortunately no longer with us. He was the little guy in the Austin Power movies. And lastly, we have Richard Griffiths as Uncle Vernon Dursley, the muggle, horrible tyrant of an uncle who's taking care of Harry. And I guess we should mention who his wife was. That's Fiona Shaw, plays Petunia Dursley. That's the aunt of Harry, another nasty woman who we'll talk about in a second. And lastly, we don't want to leave out Maggie Smith, and she's Professor McGonagall. Another big role. Like I said, this movie's full of many big roles. We can go on forever, but you get an idea of who's in this movie.
Let's go ahead and start our review on this movie. However, we're going to point this out. Our review is about the movie only. We're not going to be comparing it to the book. Too many other people have already done that. So we're just going to be true reviewers and just stick to one medium and say, hey, we're going to review the movie and not the books.
And I'm going to mention this is a spoiler-filled review. I know you're saying this is a 2001 movie. This movie's been reviewed by this, that, and the other person. This is a spoiler-filled review. I know there are people out there who haven't seen the movie, and if you haven't seen it right away, it's a great movie. Spoiler warning, you've been warned. Here we go. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. The beginning of the whole adventure. This is going to take a 7-year journey now. We're starting from this point here. And this actually takes place in the past. So we're going 11 years in the past before the actual storyline starts, because now this takes place in the past where it's setting up everything. It starts out in the evening in a little town in England, and it's Albus Dumbledore.
You have this strange man with a beard down to his waist, wearing colorful robes and this long stocking of a hat walking down the middle of a street where cars drive in the evening. And nobody is in the least bit suspicious of this one man who points a little object at things and the lights fly to this object. I think that what we should be saying is strange and dangerous man walks down the center of the street, looking menacingly at the lights.
They're introducing us that, yes, this is it. We're in for something magical here. He's doing something without doing something that a human can do. It makes the street nice and dark, and then we see a cat sitting there, and another magical moment happens.
You're thinking, oh god, this is awesome. It's a werecat or something like this.
No, that shows up in the next one, Vespor, but I can see why you would think that here. It's not just an ordinary cat. No, it's Professor McGonagall, another professor from the school that we're going to meet later on. So now it's really setting up things. What is going on here? They're waiting for Hagrid, they mentioned. Like, who's Hagrid? Well, he shows up soon, and he's riding on a flying motorcycle. It's this big hulking guy, and he's going to be holding a baby, and he's all dirty for some reason, right?
Yes, I know. Flying through the air at night, yes, you expect some dirt on him. But the dirt you're expecting is created from all the bugs impacting on his body and his goggles. Instead, he has an outline like he's been on the actual road driving behind a car throwing mud and gunk in his face. No. This sort of made me go, huh?
Yeah, it made no sense. I understand the effect they're going for, but we're like, why? He's flying through clouds and he has black soot all over his face? What? I don't understand. So, yep, they're delivering a baby, and all we learn is that this baby is going to be famous one day. His name is Harry Potter, and he has to be left with the only relatives he has left. It seems like his parents were killed. We don't know the nature of the events yet.
But we do know that apparently these muggles, which stand for non-magic users, are apparently the worst of the lot. So some foreshadowing there into what his family life is going to be.
Yep, the only living relatives they have left, so that's what they have to stay with. So yep, foreshadowing. This is going to be a very rough 11 years for Harry Potter. So they leave a little note there. We'll find out in the future. We don't find out in this movie what's in the note, but we will find out in a later movie what's actually in this note. Cue starting credits, and that's it. That sets up the storyline for the movie.
And so now we start with the child that lives in the cupboard.
So 11 years have passed. So Harry is about to turn 11 here, and this is a very important moment, which we'll find out in a bit. But we get an idea as an audience of how bad things have been for the past 10 to 11 years for Harry Potter. He's been belittled, abused, psychologically tormented. He gets like a little square to live in under the stairs, and it like has a lock and a little slit so that light can come through. Dudley, who's his aunt and uncle's son, is beloved, and he's like the cherished one, where Harry's like the boy no one wants to talk about, and he's sort of just like the slave labor.
And the first thing he does once he's set free is to go in the kitchen and immediately start making breakfast for the rest of the family.
Oh, wow, that's nice. A nice breakfast. So, wait a minute. Does he have to make this breakfast right now?
Oh, of course. I mean, after all, he is living there under their good graces. So, of course, he needs to do everything in the world for them. Well, I mean, after all, think about it. They did have to explain to the authorities how a baby just suddenly appeared out of nowhere on their front steps. And they're like, we're going to take care of them now.
All jokes aside, yes, he's treated very badly. He's forced to cook to them. They belittle him at every moment. They make him like he's stupid, and they're trying to keep him secret from what his previous life is, which we're not going to reveal yet because we don't know that yet in this part of the movie. What we do know is that it's Dudley's birthday, 11th birthday coming up, and they're so excited about it.
He's such a spoiled kid that he comes in there and the first thing he wants to know is how many presents there are. Uncle Vernon goes, there's 36. I counted them myself. It's like, what? Last year you got me 37. And then he's like,
some of them are a little bigger.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter to him. He wants 37. So his mother says, we'll buy you 2 more at the zoo that we're going to be going to visit today.
And Harry gives such a look, because I don't think Harry's ever gotten anything his whole life while living there.
They go to the zoo, and you know what they're looking at? Snakes. You know what happens then there, Ramses?
Yeah, I do. I just saw the movie with you. Dudley wants the snake to do more, and the snake's like, whatever. And they're like, oh, this snake sucks. And then Harry's like, sorry, snake. I don't know what to do with him. And the snake's like, I agree. And Harry's like, what? You can hear me? Snake's like, yep, I can hear you. Oh, well, I'll bet you'd like to go back to Burma. And the snake's like, no. And then he nods his head to a side on the wall, bred in captivity. And me and Vespor are wondering, wow. So not only can the snake understand English, but he can read it too. That's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, I wonder if that was in the book, but we're not going to talk about that. But we do know now that snakes can read and understand English.
Give him the benefit of the doubt that Harry was speaking parcel tongue the whole time. A little weird because when you find out that he can talk to snakes, but it's a hiss when you're talking, it's like, okay, was that what Harry was doing in this movie? I guess we'll assume yes, and we'll just leave it at that.
Dudley notices that the snake's moving and pushes Harry out of the way. This, in turn, causes Harry to get mad, and then the glass disappears, and he falls straight into the cage with the snake, as the snake hisses at him, crawls out, looks at Harry and says, thanks.
Yes.
This snake then slithers away and everybody's freaking out. Dudley tries to escape and finds out that the glasses reappeared. And then Uncle Vernon looks to Harry and gives you that nod, you know you're going to get it.
But pretty much all they do is they throw him into his closet and lock him up as poor Dudley's all shivering from being trapped in the water. So that's where the story's going. We get an idea of what we're dealing with now here.
And you know what? It's getting close to Harry's birthday, and then the mail arrives. And Harry picks it up and takes it to his Uncle Vernon, where Dudley notices that Harry has a letter, grabs it, and runs it back to him. He's protesting, oh, this is my letter, and they don't believe him, and then they find out it actually is. And they're kind of curious until they see that it's from Hogwarts.
Petunia and Vernon give evil looks like, oh no, Hogwarts, we were trying to avoid all that. He rips it up and said, you will not be going there, and that's the end of it, and Harry's furious, that's mine. But you think that's going to be the end of it? Of course not. This is Dumbledore we're talking about. So he's going to have a very interesting next few days in how he's going to try to get this letter to Harry so he can properly open it.
So now, after that first letter is destroyed, they start trying owls. So guess what? There keeps being
one owl will deliver it, right? And
then two owls.
Yeah.
And then eventually he comes out. There's like 4 of them on top of the roof of his car as he's getting ready to go to work. And then eventually you see the entire front and yard and car and streets covered with
right,
owls.
as you can see here, look at this. There's owls all over the place now. So the more Vernon is trying to ignore this or destroy it, it's getting worse and worse. And Vernon is starting to take great pleasure in destroying these letters. He'll like wink at Harry and burn them. He even covers up the mail slot in their door with a plank of wood to try to stop this.
Finally Sunday. That means there's no more post. And he's elaborating on how much he loves.
He's so happy that it's Sunday. But I don't think the owls work on the same schedule that the post office does.
Nope. Because eventually there's so many letters coming that the house literally starts shaking. You hear a rumbling. Locked post slot suddenly explodes inward. Letters start shooting in. They come down from the chimney, explode out everywhere.
Harry's trying to grab it. It's a very cool effect, actually. Like, there's, I'll say 1,000 letters flying all over the place, right? The whole room.
There's a lot. It's filling up until Vernon says, finally, we're just going to go far, far away. You know what? He isn't lying because they move on to the island out in the middle of the ocean with this stone house that looks like it's straight out of the wizarding world at this point. Right. You're like, what's going on here?
So that's it. He got away, and of course, Harry has to sleep on the floor while everyone else has like these dilapidated beds, and it's Harry's birthday. We see that it's Harry's 11th birthday.
And to celebrate his 11th birthday, he draws himself a little dust birthday cake and then blows it out.
Midnight, he actually looks at his watch and it turns to midnight, and at that exact second, the door slams open.
No, it doesn't slam open. Smash open.
Alright, I think, yeah, Vespor might be right on that one. Hagrid breaks the door down pretty much and bursts his way in, and he's like, he's had enough of this, sent personally by Dumbledore to take care of it.
Oh, absolutely, since he can't get his letter. Everything here is explained to him with that most famous line right here, and he says,
"You're a wizard, Harry."
I'm a what?
A wizard.
Finally, we know what we already knew. There you go. And of course, the Dursleys are like, oh no, he's not gonna be. And I love the actress who played Petunia. She's so good at this part.
You hate her, just looking at her.
Oh yeah, she's Fiona Shaw. Oh my god, she's like that horrible stuff, and she's like, we kept doing you the freaks, and yeah, she's saying it with such anger and vinegar and hatred and vitriol. It is so great how Fiona Shaw is playing this character. She is so mad. She did not want any part of this, and Hagrid's pretty much like, whatever, he's going. You know, that's what Dumbledore wants. He's a wizard. You're not denying. We're off to start our adventure now. In London, they're just walking down la-di-da, and everyone's like, oh yeah, an 8-foot giant wearing those, who cares? And Harry's just like having a nice casual conversation.
Obviously, these two do not look like they're in any way related. And goes to the pub. And you're thinking, this is interesting. That should raise some eyes right there. Where you're taking like an 11-year-old kid into a pub.
Whoops, yep.
But as soon as you walk in, you're like, it's a different world. All these people are wearing beggars' clothing. Oh, wait, no, they're just from a different time era. By the way, at this point on, if it doesn't make sense, assume it's magic.
Just accept it's magic, and that's the answer. We don't need any other explanation. It's magic.
In the Leaky Cauldron, this is where we meet some people who are giving us an idea of why Harry's special. And that's because he's the boy that lived. And then we meet Professor Quirrell.
Right, the guy in the purple turban. Here he is. Wow, doesn't it look like a nice guy? Professor Quirrell. And he doesn't even want to touch Harry, which is a good thing he didn't. We'll find out later why.
It's called foreshadowing.
Yes, don't touch Harry now. No, Quirrell, stay away. There you go. So we meet some interesting people. They're all awed by Harry. Hagrid's like, all right, you met all the gang here. Now let's get into the Diagon Alley. He taps the wall a few times in the back of the shop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The whole thing opens up. Secret passageway. Here you are. The hallway to the Wizarding Room.
And as you can see, Wizards apparently don't know what straight lines are. Everything's cockeyed.
But that's why it's
straight.
called Diagon Alley. Get it? Diagonally. So yes, all the buildings are a little dilapidated and slight, and it's a weird looking place.
And the best part is how do you get access to this place through a hub? But then again, as we said, it's magic.
So we're not going to analyze it anymore. So yes, he's in Diagon Alley, and he's there to get his supplies. All first years must get certain supplies. He needs money. So Hagrid's like, oh, well, we go to the bank to get money. Yeah, that makes sense. You do go to the bank.
Gringotts, to be exact.
Yes, we get to meet our first real look at the wizarding world here.
And the first ones we meet is, of course, goblins. And these aren't the goblins you see in D&D or Pathfinder or any other fantasy game. They're not green. They're bankers, which I do not see the direct correlation between a green goblin and a regular goblin in this being, human skin. I mean, look at the two pictures here. Here's Fantasy Goblin. Here's Harry Potter Goblin. They do not look anything alike.
Oh, very weird. But I guess in this world they've mellowed out a little bit. I don't know. So yes, we have the human-looking goblins, and we have the main one we talked about that's portrayed by Warwick Davis, who does the voice while the embodiment of the body of work moving around, of course, is Fern Troyer. And now we are in the bank. So this is our first real taste of the magical world here. Goblins all over the place. And of course, they're not nice. You wouldn't expect goblins to be nice. At least that portrayal is sort of real to goblins. They're nasty, but they're real good business goblins, I guess. That's why they run the bank here. We're going to get a little story here now. Harry's going to be taken to his vault where he has a fortune left for him by his parents. Whereas Hagrid had another mission. He has to get the object of the movie. And we're not giving anything away. Look at the title of this movie. What's Hagrid going to get?
It's the MacGuffin of the movie, to put it short.
Right, the magic device that everyone wants. The Sorcerer's or Philosopher's Stone, whichever version you're going by. Harry gets his money, and they're like, oh, you didn't think your parents would leave you with nothing. And I'm like, they wouldn't have left him with anything. They didn't die. That was their money. They weren't leaving that for Harry. That was their money. So he has enough money now to take care of all his stuff. Hagrid picks up the you-know-what and the you-know-which, and now our story's set in motion.
Yep, that's an awful lot of foreshadowing we've already had.
Okay.
So now we have to go and get his wand, because after all, what's a wizard without his wand? And so we're going to Ollivanders. And John Hurt plays this character perfectly. Comes off as being a little strange and mysterious, and you're just drawn into this character as Harry tries out wands, and in doing so, destroys the store.
Right, and then Ollivander's reactions every time, he's like, no, that's not it.
And you see, this is where you start to learn that things are done differently in the Wizarding world. This was like, in the real world, a wand is sort of like a gun. Here's this shotgun. Try out the different ammunition in here without going to the firing range.
Right. So, is this the routine he goes through each time? Hand the kid a wand and let him destroy your shop until he finds the right one?
I wonder about this one particular wand. It's super special because it's on a back shelf, so you know it's special.
Right, it's a back shelf. It's sort of slanted. The rest are stacked nicely. This one wand is sort of top on its side. They're like, special as one. He's keeping it like just laid separately so he doesn't give it to anybody else.
To be fair, I mean, Harry could have accidentally destroyed it when he discharged his weapon in the damn store.
Exactly. And then we get the famous quote, I wonder. Yes, we wonder too. Yes, we know this is going to be the wand. So yes, he's giving him this I wonder wand.
And here's our special history that has to be given about the wand. There was 2 phoenix feathers. One went to the wand of one we shall not be named, and then the other...
It's the other one. Oh my god. Choir singing again as he's holding the wand. Yes, Harry has the same wand as his nemesis. There you go.
And so, we now have to get to Hogwarts after he gets picked up after getting his wand. And so they're walking into the train station, and they're having a little discussion, and then Hagrid suddenly remembers he has to go to Dumbledore because he needs the item.
So sorry, Harry, I'm just... I mean, this is a scene that made me and the Vespor laugh. Hagrid's like, yep, sorry, Harry, I gotta go. Stick to your ticket. And then Harry's like, stick to the ticket, all right. 9 3/4. Wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. There's a 9, there's a 10, what's a 9 3/4? Oh, but Hagrid's gone. Oh, sorry, Harry, I wish I could have explained that to you. For that 1 second, it would have taken me to explain it to you. But no, I'm just gonna leave you on your own vices. Good luck, hopefully you find the train. I'm out of here.
Like we said, things are done a lot differently in the Wizarding world. Instead of taking him to it in a hurry and then going on his way.
Now Harry's left to his own. And there's that funny moment where he walks up to a train conductor and he's like, excuse me, sir, can you help me find track 9 3/4? And the guy's like, 9 3/4? Are you nuts or something? And then he leaves this poor 11-year-old kid to his own vices. He's asking the guy for help, but because he made something that he thought was a joke, he's just gonna like, screw this kid, I'm out of here.
And the best part is he's got all this stuff, so it's obviously he's here to get on a train. Don't show me your ticket, just get the hell out of here.
So anyway, it leads to the important part where we meet the Weasleys. So yes, This will be a big wizarding family. They're going to be in all the books, all the movies. They're very important. They all have orange hair. That's how you know it's the Weasley. They're all Gryffindors. Very important. And now they're all walking the track. Molly Weasley, that's their mother. 93-4 every year. Muggles all over the place. And Harry's like, Muggles, 93-4. That's it. Oh boy, it's a good thing I happen to be standing right here when they all walk by me. Yes, nice coincidence.
And here's where you have to ask yourself, man, this must be some strong magic, or these people just see this all the time on this platform.
And they don't
because they
question it.
just run right at the column and disappear into it. Literally disappear.
That's right.
Like walking through it.
So that's how you get to 9 3/4, as Vesper's showing here. You have to go into pillar between 9 and 10, and there you go. You're in the magical world where the Hogwarts Express is. All right, I guess it worked. Whatever. No one sees it. No one notices. Magic. Remember, when you can't explain something, use the word magic.
It's magic.
We find the Hogwarts Express, which is a very impressive train.
It's a steam engine, actually. And you know what? He gets on the train. He finds a nice car to get in.
Yeah, it's like, I got a card all myself. This is great. I'm not going to be bothered by any knock, knock, knock. Here's Ron Weasley. It's going to be his future best friend, and this is where they meet for the first time. The trolley comes by offering the candy, and Ron has a squished up sandwich. He's like, no, I got something. And Harry's like, I'll take the lot. Says it happily, showing coins.
And you know what? You can see from the amount of trash here, he literally bought the entire car, and it looks like they ate everything. Now, I don't know about you, but me being a normal human, if I ate that much candy, I'd be sick as a dog.
Oh, absolutely. It was like, wow.
And the thing is, this is where we also meet Hermione Granger, who is looking for a lost toad who happens to belong to Neville.
So yes, this is how we meet Hermione, and very interesting introduction how they did Hermione. She comes off as a know-it-all, snooty, kind of stuck up and all nerdy, I guess you could say. So they played it very well, where Hermione's kind of annoying and snootish, but she means well also. Ask Ron to show a trick, because Ron's showing off. He has his rat Scabbers there, and he wants to do a trick, and Hermione's like, well, show me then. And the trick, of course, doesn't work, and she's like, oh, whatever, you have something on your face or something, and then she walks out.
In all honesty, it does seem kind of random about the whole dirt thing, because, you know, it seems to make perfect sense to her, but being a guy, I completely related to Ron and Harry looking like, what? It's dirt.
Yeah, I know, who cares? Already, Ron and Hermione are getting off to a bad start, and that's going to play off a little later, you'll see as we go along. So, yeah, that's setting up our three main heroes right there, so that was a great introduction. So, they arrive at school, and it's very interesting. First years get to arrive at the castle via boat.
Now, this is different for each year. Depending on what year you're going to school, you have a different means of getting to the school.
You have to be so impressed when you see this. Imagine it's back in 2001, sitting in the movie theaters, and you're like, wow, this is going to be the first time we're going to see Hogwarts, and they don't disappoint. It's a nighttime sky, it's glowing, they're all on these boats that are being driven by something under the water, and then the castle comes into view. Wow, like look at this picture. That's what the castle looks like when you see this on the big screen in the movie theater for the first time.
And this is what you've been reading for years. This is a wonderful scene. Feel in awe at what's about to happen. From here, we move to our students, our first years, getting to the entrance into the great dining hall at
We're gonna meet
Hogwarts.
some more characters.
And that's where we meet McGonagall.
Right, McGonagall, the professor who we saw at the start of the movie. She was the cat. She's the head of the Gryffindor house, and she's a professor there, and she's going to now help all the students acclimate.
And here's where we find Trevor. You remember that lost frog on the train? It just suddenly appears in front of her. Magic.
That's right. We don't know how a frog got ahead of everyone off of a train, but okay, whatever. So he picks up the frog. This is the first time we meet one of the classmates, Neville, and he's going to have a lot of usage in later movies also. But now we're going to meet Harry's rival, and this is very important because this is going to be something that stays true to all 8 movies.
Absolutely. He comes up and says, Harry Potter, the rumors are true, basically. You are on the train. He walks right up to him and says, don't associate with Ronald Weasley. He's like from an inferior house. You must be friends with me because I'm from a superior house. Now, of course, I'm paraphrasing this. And you know what Harry does? He looks right at him as Malfoy sends his hand and he goes, sure thing, Malfoy. We'll become the greatest wizarding pair in the world has ever seen.
That's right.
And from here, Slytherin takes over the world.
That's right. Slytherin takes over. Draco and Harry build an alliance like no other. No one's able to stop them. They take over for Voldemort, which is the interesting part. I bet you didn't know that happened in this movie. Yeah, so...
Oh, wait a sec. Oh, wait.
Oh, wait a minute. That's the alternate. What are you reading this fan fiction for? Where did this come from?
Oops, I'm sorry.
All right,
let's
sorry,
go back there.
folks. That's the wrong synopsis.
What really happens is that Harry looks at him and says, I know how to choose my friends, basically. Looks right at Ron because, I mean, Ron has been true to him. He hasn't been a bad guy. He's been honest.
Yep, and Harry's like, I'll choose my own friends, thank you. It really shows Harry's character. He doesn't want the power. He doesn't want the ambition. He wants his friends. And that's going to become very important because that is going to play a very big deal in all 8 of these movies. Friends, allies, who's with you. So yep, now we have all the main characters established here. We're walking into the main hallway here.
And we can see 4 rows, each of these representing one of the houses of Hogwarts, which is, of course, Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, and Slytherin. Now, these first years are taken to the front of the dining hall, where Dumbledore gives a little bit of an announcement and says, do not go into the Dark Forest, and do not enter the third floor on the right side unless you wish to meet a most horrible death.
We hope he's kidding, but pretty much stay out of the third floor.
It's just like my father told me. It builds character.
Yeah. So this is a cool part because they have the sorting hat. That's what this hat here is called. And this hat was created by the original founders of Hogwarts. We don't need to go on that because the movie doesn't, so we're not going to. But this is how you find out what house you go into, and that'll be your family while you're there for 7 years. So, yep, the hat is placed on the first year's head. The hat will do a little speech to say, yeah, okay, whatever. You're in this house. All right, yeah. You're in this house.
The best part about all this is they're doing this to each of the students. They do it to some of the main characters and some side characters you don't even know who they are. They don't even put it on Malfoy's head. It's not even on his head. Look here. It's not on his head.
Yeah, and the hat's already saying Slytherin. Hermione, he took a little long, but then he was like, all right, Gryffindor. And then Harry Potter, and the whole place goes quiet. What house is Harry going to go in?
And you know what? This is the last thing I'd want as a kid, because it's basically saying, you've got talent, you've got brains, and you do absolutely wonderful in Slytherin. And then you go, I don't want to be Slytherin. It's like, but it's all there. You make it great.
You'll be great. You'll be great. No, not Slytherin. You don't want Slytherin? No, I just said I don't want Slytherin.
Better be Gryffindor.
If I was one of the kids watching this, I'd be like, wait a second. He just said, I don't want to be in Slytherin. So can I just go and say, I'll be with those dudes over there?
Can I be with those cool kids at the Gryffindor table? I don't want to be in no Hufflepuff.
No, I don't want to be in Hufflepuffs. Down with Gryffindor.
Right, yeah. Right. So it's interesting how the movie plays out like that. We saw that Malfoy, who's going to be his rival, was a Slytherin, and he saw that Hermione and Ron, who were his friends, went to Gryffindor. So yeah, he wanted to be in Gryffindor too.
Once the sorting's done, they have a feast.
So now we're getting more of a feel of the universe because now John Cleese's head, who plays Nearly Headless Nick, is going to pop up through the table. We're like, what? Yep, it's the ghost. Every one of these houses that we mentioned has their own ghost. So they're kind of like the mascots of these houses. It's kind of interesting how they do that. And Gryffindor's mascot is Nearly Headless Nick, who's played by John Cleese, and it's a very cool moment. They're like, why are you called Nearly Headless Nick? I'm like, why are you asking a question like that? You know the answer, but of course he's going to show it. His head is almost decapitated, and he'll bend it all the way to the right, snap it back into place. That's why, and fly off. Well, but it was cool. I think the ghosts look really cool in this movie. It's a 2001 movie, and I think they did the effect very well.
But now we're taken directly to the wonderful rooms that they have for each house. And you're informed that the stairs move, because once again, foreshadowing.
Every house is located in a secret part of the castle, and for Gryffindor, it's at a picture of a fat woman wearing a pink dress.
And of course, she's using magic to seal it, so they had to have a password. Go in, you learn about the dormitory, what life is like, and from here, we get right on into our first day of class after they settle in. And you know what? They're late. Why are they late? Well, I don't know. I've never seen this giant castle before. How do I get to my first class?
I love how strict the adults are in this. First years are expected to just know where everything is, and if you don't, too bad. At least you didn't remove points. So that's another thing. When you're part of a house, and that's going to come into play also in this movie, you have a point system. If you do well, you gain points. If you do bad, you lose points. So yes, McGonagall, we think she's not in the class, but we as the audience know she is because we, unlike Harry and Ron, saw McGonagall in her cat animagus form. So the cat's waiting there, and Ron and Harry sneak in thinking they got it, and then boom, we're going to use that effect again. Changes from the cat, and Ron thinks the effect is cool, and McGonagall's not impressed at all and tells him to sit down, and that's how we get introduced to how class life is going to be here, because it just gets worse and worse. We go to Snape's class next. He's not impressed at all by Harry Potter. Harry's taking notes, writing down every single word he says with a fountain pen.
Yeah, and it's obviously an intro, and I do give credit for Snape on this one, is you should be listening to him, not writing down when it's obviously he's like, I'll teach you how to bottle fame, put the stopper in death, and all these impressive
Harry's
things.
writing down these terms. Snape's like, oh my god, what's this dork doing here? So,
and then that draws his ire immediately, and he's like, can you tell me where to find this? What do I get if I mix that? Of course, Hermione Know-It-All is right there next to him. He's like, I know all the answers, but this is obviously to put Harry in his place. As an audience, you're like, man, he seems mean, but I'm thinking from the point of the teacher, I'm like, I would be absolutely annoyed if somebody wasn't paying attention to where
exactly. There was no reason to be taking notes.
And didn't you notice that no one else, Harry, in the entire class was writing down this?
So Snape puts him in his place, and Draco's grinning. I love how they keep going to Malfoy every time Harry gets belittled somehow. Like, they're really stressing the point that these two are going to be rivals. All right, so yeah, we got a fun little scene to show how the mail will work. We already got a taste of that earlier in the movie, but pretty much anytime mail's delivered in the Wizarding World, it's done by Owl.
But you know what? I absolutely love it because as you can see here, some of these people can't catch what's being dropped on them.
Whoops.
So
yep, she does.
I actually think we might switch our services here to deliver by Owl, and I'm going to send you endless amounts of bricks.
And I got to catch each one, or they're going to hit me on the head.
And if I'm fast enough, I'll send about 4 or 5 of them at once.
And he'll do it too, folks. That's the sad part. So we'll talk about that later. Let's get back to the movie now, though. Yes. So it's kind of cool. They show all this mail being delivered by owls, and then Harry gets nothing because his family's not going to send him anything. So he reads the paper, and again, we find out a little more from the story. There was a break-in attempt at Gringotts Bank where they just were previously, and nothing was stolen, but we know it's the you-know-what from the you-know-which, which Hagrid took. We don't know what it is yet. Here's the title of the movie. Figure out what this item is. Well, there you go. The story's moving along. And Neville, he gets a delivery too, and it's a remember-all. So what does a remember-all do? You hold it, it'll turn red when you're supposed to remember something.
Now, here's the funny thing. He picks it up, and immediately it turns red as he's obviously forgotten something. Ah, look, Neville's forgot something. He goes, well, the problem is I don't remember what I forgot to begin with. You're sitting there going, what is the point of this thing?
What is the point of a remember-all? I don't know. The whole thing makes no sense to me. So yes, so that's setting up the story now. So this remember-all is going to come into play here. So now it's one of my favorite scenes of the movie. We have another professor here. Yes, Professor Hooch. That's her name, Hooch. And she's going to be one of the worst professors, I think, to ever teach at Hogwarts.
At least by movie standards.
Yes, by movie standard. We're not going by book. Book is different.
All right, now, first things first. This seems harmless. They just have the kids with brooms on the ground facing each other, and you're like, oh, this looks like this is good. This makes perfect sense. She's going to teach them how to do it by making them stand next to their brooms, holding their hands over and go up. Now you're thinking, oh, okay, it's just going to immediately fly up into their hands. And then you suddenly see these brooms going haywire.
Yeah, they're swimming across the ground. They're bopping all over the place. One hits Ron in the face. So yeah, Harry and Malfoy are shown to be natural talents with broom flying. The rest, even Hermione, has a lot of trouble, and that's an established thing. She was not good at broom flying. So yep, finally, they all get on the brooms. I don't think Hooch has done anything here except say, do it. I don't even know why Hooch is there. She's done absolutely nothing. And it's like, oh, good. Now I'm going to teach you. Wait a minute. And then she starts babbling. Mr. Longbottom. The Longbottom. Stop. What are you doing? She's like waving her arms frantically.
Oh, and by the way, this is why she's standing right next to him as this broom is going haywire. Literally
so
right
instead
next.
of grabbing the broom or saying get off or saying no, Hooch here, letting us all play out. It was like she wanted this to happen.
And he goes on this wonderful journey all through the castle grounds, slamming and bouncing off everything. And you're sitting here going, man, shouldn't he have been thrown from the broom at the speed at which he's hitting these walls?
I know, imagine hitting a wall on a tiny object like a broomstick at an impact like that. So yeah, he's flying around. So yeah, this is all going on, and Hooch is doing absolutely nothing. And I don't think enough people mention this. I know people have, but not enough people focus on this. What is Hooch doing here? You have a first-year student who obviously is having a lot of problems, and you're doing absolutely nothing but humming and looking as this all goes on. It's like you're enjoying that the student is destroying himself and about to get very hurt. So we're like, all right, finally she's going to do something. She holds her wand, stands up. So what does she do instead of fire to stop him? She jumps out of the way. What type of professor is this?
But here's the thing that breaks your mind is the fact that his robes get caught on a sword as he flies past it on his broom. And he's hanging there for a good 5-10 seconds. And we're talking like 50 feet in the air.
Yep, and it's like, all right, Hooch, you can save him now. You were just about to...
You have your wand in your hand.
Nope, nothing. She's just, the rope breaks on the sword. Uh-oh, poor Neville. Oh, he breaks on this sharp torch. Oh, he lands on a pitchfork. All right, so you still have a shot, Hooch. Hooch, where are you? Nope, still nothing. Then, boom, he slams right out on the ground. And then Hooch comes running over. Oh, no! Oh, this is terrible!
Oh,
dear.
Look. Oh, your wrist hurts. Oh, it's broken. Oh, don't worry about it. Oh,
boy, this is a bad one. Oh, boy, I'd hate to be you right now. Oh, boy.
And you know what? She says, all right, I'm going to get up and take him to the nurses. Fly on your brooms while you're gone. You'll be expelled faster than you say Quidditch. More foreshadowing.
And notice how no one's afraid of Hooch. I think they've already learned that this woman's going to do absolutely nothing. So nobody is afraid at all of any consequences. First thing they do is Draco gets right on his broom and starts spinning around, and he picks up the remember-all that Neville dropped. So you have Draco's all in show-off mode, and this is where we get the Gryffindor versus Slytherin rivalry, because Harry jumps right on his broom. He's like, I'll stop him. Now they're both fighting, and Draco wants to show Harry up, so he'll toss the remember-all into the distance, and Harry takes off like a rocket on this broom, goes right at it, stops the remember-all right before it hits the wall, and right in the window of McGonagall's office. So yes, he catches it, he then lands down, and the kids are going wild. they're cheering. Then McGonagall comes out, "Grr, Harry Potter, follow me." And Draco's all like, "Haha, yeah, you got in trouble. I got you on that one."
Hey, you remember where she mentioned Quidditch? Well, guess what? McGonagall takes him to the captain of the Gryffindor Quidditch team, Woods.
Woods, oh, and he's a great character. He doesn't get a lot of play in the movies, but in the books, he is such a Quidditch-obsessed teenager. I mean, this guy sleeps, eats, drinks, reads, everything Quidditch. In the movie, he doesn't get a lot of play, which is sad, because I thought the character was very amusing in the book. Because of that amazing catch that Harry had, he's now going to be part of the Gryffindor Quidditch team.
Yeah, at this point, the story's actually going quite well. There hasn't been a part that has been so boring or tedious that you're like, man, I wish this would end. No, this draws me, so it's going great.
Let's head back to the common room.
Hey, you remember that whole scene they gave specifically showing the stairs moving? Well, this is the payoff right here. Guess what? We're now on the 3rd floor.
Wait a minute, I thought you weren't allowed to go on the 3rd floor. That's right. Well, let's explore it anyway. We're already here, we might as well look around or whatever. So yes, they start exploring around the 3rd floor. There's another character that we should mention that we didn't really focus on. Caretaker of Hogwarts is Filch. He's just like a gritty, disgruntled old man who has a cat. This is North, but she has a sense of being able to know where anybody is quickly. And she's already onto the kids. So Filch is on the way. So they're running. They're trying to get away. Oh, a locked door. And Hermione's like, I got this. Alahomora. That's the unlocking spell.
And they get there and hide just in time for Filch looks around and sees nobody's there.
Nobody's here. Yeah, he and the cat leave.
More foreshadowing.
There happens to be a special creature in here. One that you won't see in the normal world, but is in the magic world. We see a gigantic 3-headed puppy dog behind them.
By the way, mythology, they're called Cerberus. By the way, this giant dog here, as you can see, is weak as a kitten. The 3 11-year-olds can push the door shut.
Right, you see the big head is filling up the whole doorway, and these 3 kids are like, oh, and they slam it on him. But yep, they're able to get away from the giant 3-headed Cerberus, and now it's more foreshadowing. Hey, that dog's not going to come into play later, is it? Yes, of course it is.
What's it doing on the 3rd floor?
Right.
I don't know.
Yes, yeah, I don't know. How did they get it through the doorway? So now we get to one of those famous scenes here, and it's famous because it's a weird meme, I guess, right? Is that what we're going to call it?
Yeah, that's correct. This is actually a meme.
So this is Flitwick's class. So he teaches all these simple charms and magical things that you can enchant with your wand. So this is actually a funny moment because all the kids are in class, and he's trying to teach them a new spell, Wingardium Leviosa. And what is that? That's the levitation spell.
Remember, swish and flick.
That's the important rule to the spell.
And you also have to say the word right.
So yes, so Flitwick is telling them, say it exactly like this. And the kids are like doing random things, like all over the place. And then Ron's is like jabbing it with the wand, which again, he comes from the Weasley family who are all wizards. I mean, the whole thing makes no sense. They teach this kid nothing. I guess they just had him sitting there sucking his thumb for a living.
Yeah, at this point you're thinking, you know what? Ron's literally an idiot that doesn't know anything, even though he's been living in the wizarding world all of his life.
Right, like Harry Potter I can understand. He knows nothing of it. Ron Weasley is from one of the longest standing wizarding families. He's 11 years old, and he's showing up in this class and jabbing the wand in the air like it's a dagger or something. Yes, it looks funny on a movie, but logically it makes no sense. And so Hermione becomes her snooty self again. And rightfully so. I take Hermione's side on this one because Ron was a moron here. Like,
No, you're going to put an eye out.
you can put an eye out with that.
And remember, in the wizarding world, life is cheap.
Ron is getting all insulted. Like, who does she think she is? Telling me, all right, then you show me how to do it. And this is the famous line where Hermione says,
Leviosa, not Leviosa. Wingardium Leviosa.
says it so perfectly and waving it around all snooty and in your face as she perfectly does the spell as Flitwick claps for her.
And then Seamus's feather explodes.
And then Harry's like, we're gonna need another feather, sir. She says so straight-laced.
Movie magic.
Yes.
We'll call it movie magic on this one.
Right.
Not just magic, just movie magic.
So now here comes the playoff where Ron has finally had enough of Hermione. He can't stand her attitude, he can't stand her showing off, he can't stand her putting him in his place all the time.
It's Wingardium Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Right, so he's making fun of her accent and how she said it. And of course Hermione having to be standing there, and she gives the "humph, I heard you," and storms off.
Right.
And she runs into the bathroom. And it turns out today was Halloween. Who knew? And now there's a huge Halloween feast happening in the large dining area. And it's all Halloween decorated. It looks, again, the effects in this movie are very good. They have jack-o'-lanterns all over the place. It's all Halloween, all festive, all candles. But, Quirrell comes running in. There's a troll in the dungeons. I thought you should know. And then he collapses right
And of course, all the kids immediately, for no reason, just start screaming and yelling because, after all, that troll's in the dungeon, not on one of the highest floors as we
Exactly,
see.
and you're all safe there. You have 100 kid wizards, 12 adult wizards. You're in the safest place you could be right now if there's a troll in the dungeon.
Dumbledore is sitting right there.
And then Dumbledore's like, silence! He yells at these kids, shut the hell up. Says, all right, get these kids out of here. Yeah, we'll take care of this.
All of the prefects take the rest of your members back to your rooms and we'll resolve this. Percy's taking back Gryffindor, and he's literally 10 free from Harry when Harry just blurts out, oh my god, run! Hermione's in the bathroom.
Oh.
He is not quiet. He is bellowing this out at the top of his lungs.
Right.
And nobody noticed. Look, there's even kids right next to
Yeah,
him.
in the book, it sort of plays out like this too, but in the movie form,
It's a lot better in the book.
Oh my god, we gotta go to the girls' bathroom. Yes, here we go. So, of course, right as they reach the bathroom, who shows up? There he is, our troll. Grr, snarl, growl. Oh my god, it's the troll! He got out of the dungeons! No kidding, yes, he got out of the dungeons. For some reason, he has that run of the castle, but he goes right to the girls' bathroom where Hermione is. Maybe you want a date, I don't know, but he seems to know right where Hermione was.
Well, even with time lapses here, we don't know how long this has been. But if he got from the dungeons to there in like 30 seconds, he must have been booking it.
Yeah, he was like, girl in bathroom, must get. And he ran right there. But yes, Hermione is trapped in the bathroom. Our heroes show up. She's screaming because the thing's swinging its huge club, destroying the whole bathroom. So now the previous scene comes into play, because how are you going to beat it? Well, you just learn the magic spell. Why don't you use it, dopey? All right, Ron, let's show a magic spell. Before that happens, Harry jumps on the troll's back, shoves his wand into his nose, and we're talking like deep up. Harry's running bareback atop of it. And then Hermione's like, swish and flick. Oh, so we're going to use that spell again. So here we go. So Ron at the club does Wingardium Leviosa, and the club goes flying in the air. It slams down onto the troll, knocks him out, and there you go. That's how the whole scene plays out. And it looks very impressive. The troll looks kind of fake based on today's graphics, but the rest of the situation played out very nicely.
Yeah, and you know what happens as soon as Hermione's saved? Of course, McGonagall and Quirrell and Snape just suddenly appear literally less than 5 seconds after.
Where were they? We'll take care of this. The most inept professors.
Wait a second. I think I figured out. Maybe it has to do with Harry being the chosen one. Because to be a hero, you have to ignore all common sense, because everything bad has to happen to you, because the people who can stop it can't show up until afterwards.
That's right. They show up late. What's going on here? McGonagall's all mad. Hermione, to her credit, she stands up for them and says, I did it. I wanted to stop the troll, and I was there. If Harry and Ron didn't show up, I would have been killed. And McGonagall was like, 5 points from Gryffindor. That's terrible. Even though it's like 5 points. She could have been killed, so you're going to take away 5 points.
You had to learn a lesson. This is countered out by the fact that she gives points to Ron and Harry by saying, here's some points for you for sheer dumb luck.
So they gained 5 points on this. I'm like,
yeah, don't forget, part of the chosen one, they were lucky for first years to be able to defeat
right.
him.
Like, oh, you almost got killed. 5 points away. Oh, you saved it by luck. Good. All right, 5 points for each of you. And that's it. That's how they deal with things in the Wizarding World.
Before they leave, they notice that Snape has a long cut on his leg.
That's right. Ah, so it's Snape all along. And they're going to throw out this red herring. We should really mention the red herring now. Snape has this huge gash on his leg, and we're like, what's going on? Oh, it must be Snape. Pretty much anytime something goes wrong, someone's to blame, you're going to throw out the word Snape. And that's to totally mislead the audience in every way possible. You should know by the 10th time that they say Snape, it's not going to be Snape. So now we're going to have another mail call here. So I guess the owls keep flying in every time. And Harry's going to get a package. Why don't you tell it Harry gets in one of the
Well,
mail
you know
packages?
what? There's this big, long, about 5 foot long package.
Oh, I wonder
It
what that
looks,
can be.
it's got a long, narrow
Wait.
shaft
Yeah,
and a
yeah.
bushy bottom. Well, you know what? Let's open it up. Ah, look, it's a broom.
Oh, broom. Wait a minute. Of course that's a broom. What do you mean? What is it? I mean, they're so surprised that a broom that's wrapped in paper. This is a broom. All right, what do you mean, what is it, Ron? This is a broom. What did you think it was? A motorcycle? This is a broom.
I don't know, Harry. Let's find out.
It's like when you wrap up a ball in paper and someone asks, what is it? I always love when that happens too.
You know what, though? If you look here, after he opens up, he looks to his right, and there's Hedwig getting petted by McGonagall, who gives the all-knowing wink right there, as you
wink,
can
wink.
see.
Yeah, there, yeah. Gee, I wonder who'll give it to you. Wink, wink, wink.
Yeah, this Nimbus 2000, which is the fastest broom there is.
The Quidditch game is about to happen, and finally we're going to get to talk about the sport.
Well, Woods regales his tale of his first game to Harry, trying to calm him down by saying, I don't remember my first game. He's like, oh, why? Well, about 2 minutes into the game, I got hit in the head with a bludger and didn't wake up till a week after the game.
Good luck, Harry.
It's so funny because you're like, man, I'm out here. That's what I'm thinking. Now, after that wonderful pep talk by Woods, they go out to the field and we start hearing the basics of the game, how much the rings through the hoops are worth, and we come to find out that the actual snitch is worth 150 points. No wonder he's saying, hey, the game's over when you grab it. You win.
Yeah, he made it very clear. You catch the snitch, the game is over and we won. Oh, well, 150 points. That's all right. No, because you only get 10 points for every time you throw the quaffle through one of the circles. You have to have 15 unanswered goals, this thing, to make a difference. And you know how hard it is to score a lot in this game before the snitch is scored.
Oh, and by the way, if you didn't notice, there's no substitutes. When you're down a man, you're down a man.
That's it. You have 5 players on the team, and that's the whole team.
And there's the problem, is the fact that if you play a hard game, as you see here, they're just beating the crap out of each other. This game should be over in 10 minutes because nobody's going to be left standing.
Right, look at this. He's kicking him. He's throwing the thing into that. This one's pushing this one out. This
Oh,
is
look, she flew right into a tower, dropped out the bomb. I wonder how many broken bones, if she's even alive.
What happens if you lose your seeker? I guess that's the end. If both teams lose the seeker, the game goes on infinitely. That's what I mean. There's so many unanswered questions.
We're just going by what we see in the movie here, guys. Take it from being 150 points down to 50 points.
That's right. That makes the game important. Why should the snitch be 150 points when you can barely get 150 points during the game? What was the score? 50 to 20, I think, before
30 to 20, something like that.
Something like that. It's like, really? So who cares? Why are you even bothering if you know all you have to do is have your team seeker catch the snitch to win the game? That ruins the whole point of the game. If the snitch is only worth 50, well, hey, that's a reasonable goal. You can then get 40 points and say, all right, we can still get in this. We're only down by 40 if we catch this.
It makes you have to wait to get the snitch and also defend it from the other person.
And it's funny, we should note again, Hooch is the actual referee in this game.
I'm starting to see a connection of things
She
here.
did absolutely nothing again. So she makes a little statement at the beginning, I want a clean game and don't overdo it.
Oh boy, this game is anything but clean.
Right, she does absolutely nothing during the whole game again. I'm beginning to see a pattern with Hooch here.
Look at this. I mean, the captain of the Slytherin team literally takes that bat, hits that bludger, and I'm going to say crushes the skull of
Woods, yeah.
And ooh, that's gotta hurt.
Yeah, everyone gave an ooh, and then the game goes on like, oh well.
You know what makes it even better, Ramses? While all this bloodshed is going on, Potter's sitting up there watching this happen, not even looking
And
for
giving the
snitch.
same reactions, like, ooh.
I think that being the chosen one comes into effect because the snitch literally flies right by him and pauses in front of him.
Right, so Vespor plays that very well. He's just sitting there watching his team gets destroyed. Oh, wait a minute, there's a snitch.
Oh, but wait, he can't catch it because suddenly his broom stops working.
Oh, they're all magic users in the stadium. Hey, I think something's wrong with his broom. So they're just staring as Harry's about to fall off to his death. And then they focus on Snape doing humana humana. He's saying a lot of things. Hermione's like, it's Snape, because it's always Snape, the red herring. Yep, here he is again. Hermione's like, oh, I'll take care of this. Runs over to where Snape's sitting. She does a flame spell, and then that sets off another chain reaction where everyone stands there, starts going, oh, he's on fire! Everyone gets shuffled about. We don't know what's going on. Harry gains control of his broom, and then a little fight breaks out between him and the Slytherin Seeker. Harry's doing the nosedive, going right down. Slytherin's guy like, I want no part of that. Yeah, right. Just as an extra flyer. So Harry's able to do the swoop down, catches it. God, I think he's gonna throw up. Is he sick? No, he spits out the snitch. So there you go. And then the whole crowd's going wild. He's holding up victorious. And it looks good. This is a famous scene too. The victory pose. There's this in a lot of footage and moments. I think the Quidditch game's stupid. Again, this is Ramses speaking here. Again, get those harpoons out. I'm ready for him. I've already been hit by enough of him. You can throw whatever you want at me, but I stand by my words. I do not like the game, and I think the 150 for the snitch is what ruins it, and the lack of rules and penalties also ruins it for me.
And we're honestly making fun of this a lot because I played sports, love sports, so does Ramses.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess we're just seeing it from the critical eye of people that love sports. You gotta have rules for a sport to be good.
Yeah, you need rules, you need restrictions, you need penalties, you need punishments. You can't just beat up all the other players, and then you don't have a sport. That's not fun. And you can't have one object in the game giving more points than you normally would get through a whole playthrough. Yes, I know people out there are saying, oh, but the scores can go over infinite. Yeah, but most of the times it's not going to. Even the author of this, J.K. Rowling, realizes that the 150 was made to make Harry Potter look more important. That's all it is, because he's the one that has to win the game and be the important focal point of this. I understand that, but logically it makes no sense in the sport.
And that's why we stand by our things. Just lower it to 50 points. You actually got a very interesting game.
We'll talk more about Quidditch in future reviews as it comes.
Because after all, Harry Potter's the seeker for Gryffindor, so we can't have him not being a seeker. You could say it's a blessing being the chosen one, but it could also be a curse because everybody lets you do everything. And this is exactly what happened.
So now they're going to visit Hagrid, because Hagrid becomes sort of a friend to them, like a father figure in a weird way.
Especially to Harry.
And it'll sort of play out in some of the other movies. Hagrid becomes less of a character as Harry gets older, but for now he's like a very important character. They go to Hagrid and they're blaming Snape. And Hagrid's like, Snape, what are you talking about? He's one of the people that are protecting I can't tell you. He's helping Dumbledore protect something for Nicholas Flamel. Oops, I shouldn't have told you that.
By the way, he just walks away at this point because I'll give Hagrid credit here. He's an honest guy. I don't necessarily consider him stupid, just really honest and naive.
But now we have a name attached to this mysterious item. I mean, look at the title of the movie if you need to know what this mysterious item is. Now that gives Hermione motivation. Who is Nicholas Flamel?
And you know what? They've been looking for apparently a long time because it's time to go on to Christmas. As you can see here with Hagrid pulling the tree, Flitwick's putting decorations on the tree, and now we get to see Ron and Harry playing what I would absolutely love to be able to play, Wizard's Chess. Look, the pieces are destroying each other, but that does raise a question though. You know what, Ramses? How do they pay for pieces?
Oh, I don't know. You know, they don't really explain this. And the book doesn't explain it either. So what happens in Wizard's Chess is the pieces will destroy each other, and so they're all magically enhanced. And then you remove the broken pieces off the board and you go on with your game. But they don't explain, do they reform these pieces? Do you have to buy new pieces? Is there a spell to reform them?
Wizard's Chess, by far, if we were able to play that in real life, chess would be a much bigger sport.
Believe it or not, that's going to come into use again later in this movie. Christmas is here. Hermione has to go home. She wants Harry and Ron to try to find more about Nicholas Flamel. That's their goal here.
And best part is, she wants him to sneak into the forbidden section. Now, up to this point, Hermione isn't exactly a let's break the rules type person.
Right, so you can see she's sort of changing. She's now becoming the one that's trying to cause trouble and do what she has to do to get the information.
And now, once she's done this and leaves, they have to figure out how to do this. But before they do that, it's Christmas morning.
Ah, Happy Christmas, because in the United Kingdom, they say Happy Christmas. You know, a little moment with presents, and then Harry gets a present out of nowhere. His father had this. I think it's time that it's passed down to its rightful owner. So now Harry has a mysterious gift. We don't know who it's from. If you read the book, it'll explain it. We're not gonna, it didn't say in the movie.
And it is the ugliest cloak you could ever imagine. How ugly is it, you ask? Well, you know what? When Harry puts it on, it simply can't stand to exist in proper sight and turns invisible.
And again, we'll find out later that this is no ordinary invisibility cloak, that it's not a common item. This is actually a rare item that happened to be in the Potter family for some reason, again, not explained. When you put it on, it turns your whole body invisible. So hey, we got to sneak into the library and get a book. This is perfect.
You know, once again, magic.
How did this item appear out of nowhere? We don't know.
And how they get it right when they absolutely needed it.
So this is a fun little scene. Harry's going to sneak in by himself. They don't explain why Ron didn't go. The book does. The movie didn't. Again, we're going by movie only. And he walks up to the section of the library with all the restricted books. He's like, gee, which book should I pick up? I'll just pick up some random book.
Oh, by the way, if you actually look here, zoom in on it right there. You see it? That book has chains on it.
Exactly. It's like, why am I deciding on this book? Yes, this random book with chains while Nicholas Flamel in it, carrying this huge lantern in his hand. He puts that down, he opens it, and what do you think happens?
It screams at him.
He alerts Filch that someone's in there.
How did he hear him? This castle is not small. I mean, was he in the same library as Harry?
Filch keeps showing up magically wherever Harry is. I don't know if he has warp zones. I don't know how he's doing it, but he's always one step behind Harry no matter what.
It's Mrs. Norris.
Yeah, so he throws the cloak on, the lantern drops, broken lantern, so that's another clue that somebody's been there. Harry's now trying to escape with this cloak over him. He's invisible. Filch and the cat are looking all over. As he's running out of the library, he sees Snape and Quirrell arguing in the hallway. So we think, oh, we're going to learn something. No, again, it's more red herring stuff.
And you can see that Snape doesn't trust Quirrell.
Make sure you know your loyalties, and I'm on to you.
All this perfectly misleading.
And then Filch breaks that up because he says there was someone in the library. And Snape has this like, aha, somebody's out of the library, oh my god. And he dashes off.
With Quirrell, nonetheless.
Right.
Like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, nothing happened between them. And now their buddies are going to find this horrible student who's sneaking around, whatever. That goes nowhere. And then Harry sneaks into another room to get away. And he finds a very interesting item here. And this was highlighted a lot in the book. It's used here in the movie too. The Mirror of Erised.
By the way, hold that name up to a mirror and it will spell out desire.
And it does pretty much what the backwards spelling word does. Desire. So you look at it and you get what you want the most just by looking at it. Not physically getting it, but it'll show you an image of what you would like to be standing there with.
In the mirror. Harry's the good guy. He just wants to see his dead parents.
Right. So we have Lily and James Potter standing right next to him in his reflection. So in his reflection, they're being loving to him. They're touching his reflection's shoulder. And Harry's mesmerized. He loves it.
Now he runs back to the dorm, gets Ron, and takes him to the mirror.
You gotta see this. It's the most amazing thing ever. Oh my god. Oh my god.
But when he looks into it, he doesn't see Harry's dead parents. Instead, sees himself holding the Quidditch cup.
Dumbledore pats him on the shoulder, saying, "Good job, man." Yeah.
Yeah, he's buff and everything. He goes like, "Harry, is this a mirror of things to come?" He goes like, "I don't know. My parents were dead, so you know something's up here."
So Harry now is becoming obsessed with this mirror. We don't know how much time passes. We don't know how often this is happening. Dumbledore shows up eventually while this little montage of Harry sitting there shows up, and Dumbledore's like, "Ah, Harry, sitting here again." I'm thinking again. Is this a common thing that Dumbledore knew about and left him there, or is he just assuming that Harry was always there? And I think it's going to be assuming because this is the first time he's explaining what the mirror is even about. So he's like, I'm sure by now you know what the mirror is. And Harry's like, no, I have no idea.
But at least he goes, I'll give you a hint. It's what your heart desire most. At this point, you get the idea that whatever you desire the most is what the mirror will show.
So Harry longs for his parents to have a happy family. That's what he's desiring. And then Dumbledore is like, I'm taking the mirror away. And I'm like, why is the mirror here? And
I don't know. Could it be more foreshadowing?
right. So again, we have another item introduced in this movie that's going to come out to play later. And this movie seems to do it a lot. And I don't mind it. I love that the movie builds and everything, but it's just so convenient how every little thing that shows up is going to come into play somehow in this movie.
Now, don't forget, this is a kid's book. I mean, we're looking at this through the lens of adults, but the first book truly was written for kids and made so they could easily
That's
follow.
why, yes, it's a step-by-step and formulaic. So, yeah, so the mirror's taken away, and rightfully so. See, I think this is a little bit of nonsense. Oh, people have withered away staring in a mirror. I'm thinking to myself, why would I stare at an image of something I know I can't have? I can't have it. Yeah, it's cool. Wow, that's my desire. But would I wither away staring at an image of something I have no chance of getting, and it's just on a mirror in front of me? I don't think so.
I could see where he's getting at because it says it caused madness as well. Think about it. Somebody that has nothing left in the world but their desires, that's all they got left. So, I mean, in the most extreme cases, I could see it. You know what? It sounds great for the movies.
So now the movie's getting close to the end. We're getting through this here. Hermione slams a book down in front of them. She's back.
By the way, comically big book.
I can't believe it. I've read this book before. How could I not have known it was in this book?
I got it for light reading, by the way.
So she flips right to the page, Nicholas Flamel. And Nicholas Flamel, he made the Sorcerer's Stone. Yes, we can say the word now. Ding, 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 ding. The MacGuffin of the movie. Now we know what this object is. It gives an elixir of life that'll extend your life. Every time you drink the elixir, you add more years to your life.
And you know what? Now that we know what the MacGuffin is, we gotta tell Hagrid about it because obviously Snape's going to try to steal it soon.
Snape is gonna steal this. We gotta tell Hagrid. Oh my god. Red herring. Yep, here he is again.
And you know what? They go out there and Hagrid is acting awful dodgy.
He's still barely listening to him because Hagrid's hatching an egg all the while.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He won this egg from a guy down at the pub. Now this will come into play just a little bit later. But first, we have to show the egg put on a table as it's about ready to be hatched after it gets out of a cauldron. And nobody knows what it is except for Ron because his brother...
Older brother, not one we've seen yet, Charlie, he works in Romania taking care of dragons. Convenient, isn't it? Yes. And that's a Norwegian Ridgeback, Ron proudly says, knowing just by the look of the egg and as it hatches.
And can you guess what? You can tell from this scene the way Hagrid is acting all dodgy that dragons may not be allowed.
For some reason, dragons are restricted. Wow, so they have some restrictions in the wizard world. Kids falling off brooms and dying, no, we don't care about that. But dragon ownership is against the rules.
That must mean that this thing must kill so many people that even go like, you know, I think we might have to do something about it.
So dragons are restricted, and we know it's a dragon because it does the little hiccup.
And set good old Hagrid's beard on fire.
Yep.
We come to find out that after he puts it out, there's somebody staring in at the window at them.
There's Draco's face. Here he is. Ah, you can see that face anywhere.
And it also raises the question, how did he find these kids sneaking out?
Slytherin common room is located totally away from the Gryffindor. How did Draco know that the three of them were out? I mean, again, magic and more details that are left out of the story here. This is where Draco then reports it to McGonagall. The three kids come back, and McGonagall, folded arm, has the lecture with them. You three are going to lose 50 points each. And that's very important because that's going to come out to play later, too.
Yeah, and you tell this is actually significant because they've lost points before they didn't care, but 50 points isn't a small amount
That's
of
a
points.
big deal. 150 points for all three Gryffindors for being out after curfew.
It makes you wonder. They're out after hours, but you know, them killing each other in Quidditch is just fine.
Their rules here are all backwards, makes no sense. The penalty doesn't fit the crime. And then Draco, who didn't lose any points, by the way, he's punished with them, but she didn't take any points away. That should be noted. So you have to serve detention because you were out also. Detention. Gee, what kind of detention can a wizarding school give?
But you know what? As they're getting escorted to detention by Filch, you get an idea of what Ramses just said is detention. They used to hang them in the dungeon by their thumbs, screaming and wailing. So now, instead of being in the dungeon where you know where they're at, they're not going to die, they're going to send them into the dark forest to die.
So their punishment is they have to help Hagrid investigate what's happening in the forest. And we were told at the beginning of the school year that the forest is a place forbidden to all students. It's dangerous. Do not go there. You will not live. And now this is their punishment. They have to go with Hagrid into this forest to investigate something.
So remember, kids, don't go out at night.
No,
ever.
no, definitely not.
But maybe McGonagall knew because of Harry having that strange chosen curse about him that he wouldn't die.
So we'll fast forward a little bit. There's blood on the ground.
And it's unicorn blood.
Yep. silver blood. And I'm thinking to myself, why are there unicorns in this? This seems like a horrible place for a unicorn to live with all these dangerous creatures.
But Filch also said there's a lot worse things out there than werewolves.
They're gonna pull the Scooby-Doo. You go this way, we'll go this way. So Hagrid takes Hermione. They go looking this way. Draco and Harry and Fang, that's the dog of Hagrid, go the
By
other
the way, this is the part where you go, what? They have no weapons. He's carrying a crossbow. Why if they run into this creature? Seems a little odd.
These two kids have a dog that's afraid of everything. These two are first years. They have no idea and they hate each other. But yeah, this is the silly situation. Draco and Harry find a weird cloaked creature over a dead corpse of a unicorn. Draco and Fang run away. Oh my god, oh! You see the silver blood dripping off of its teeth. It's kind of a gruesome scene for a PG movie, actually.
Once again, I'm going to give Malfoy credit. He ran away. And he didn't try to trip Harry or anything. He ran away.
So it turns out it's some evil thing. We don't know what it is. It's about to attack Harry. So this is actually a fun moment. So a centaur jumps out of nowhere, does the hoof thing, and the evil creature's scared away. Then we learn more backstory here. Harry, what are you doing here? You're lucky I saved you. You would have been killed. You know about the Sorcerer's Stone. You know what you had to do.
How does he know about the Sorcerer's Stone? He lives in the Dark Forest. I want to point this out.
Centaurs are in tune with the stars. They have knowledge from above. Don't you understand how it works with centaurs?
He knows a lot more than he lets on, apparently.
Right, so Frenzy is actually the most helpful character in the whole movie. He's the only one telling Harry what's going on and what to do. Dumbledore hasn't, Hagrid did by accident. Frenzy says, go do something, that's it. That ends this situation. Now we know that's it. Time for the final run to stop what's going on here. So they get done with all that, and Hermione's like, don't worry, guys. Dumbledore is here. As long as Dumbledore is here, nothing will happen.
Now remember, this is going to play into it because of the curse of the Chosen One. When you have somebody that can easily defeat the main bad guy that you're trying to stop, for you to succeed, they have to disappear.
Yep, that's right. So, because it hits Harry suddenly. Aha, wait a minute. Hagrid wanted an egg more than anything, and suddenly one plops into his lap? That seems like a big coincidence. So they run to Hagrid. How did you get this egg? And he's more than happy to tell him the story. He said, I was in the pub. Some guy was offering some exotic animals. He had a dragon. And they're like, oh, well, did he bring up anything else? Oh, he was very interested in Fluffy. That's the name of the three-headed Cerberus. And they're like, oh, Fluffy? And he said, yeah, he was all interested in it. And then he wanted to know, well, how do you deal with it? And I told him, oh, all he had to do is play music. And it goes right to sleep. And then the famous quote again, I shouldn't have told you that. They run to McGonagall. Snape's gonna steal it. Snape's gonna steal it.
Let's talk to Dumbledore.
Dumbledore's not here. Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, so much for Dumbledore here.
They immediately tell them about the Sorcerer's Stone and all these plushies. Like,
oh, well, you knew about that, but that's not important. Get out of here.
I'm like, shouldn't you be at least questioning them a little bit? Why are they saying it's going to happen tonight? You know, I feel that they would have at least checked that out.
That's why I hate the adults in the movie universe. And they're like this in the book, too. You're teaching kids the wrong thing, though.
Checking your kids about self-reliance?
Yeah, I don't like that you can't go to an adult in this universe and get help. That is something we should teach younger people, that you can go to an adult if you need help and they're there to help you. No, in this universe, adults are inept and couldn't care less. Don't want to hear it. You know too much, get lost. You bother me. Pretty much the kids learn they're going to have to take care of themselves because no one wants to help us. That's it. They run back to their common room. They're going to get ready. And now an unexpected hero shows up. So they're about to head into Fluffy's room to find out how to get to the Sorcerer's Stone. And someone stops them.
And that person being Neville. Because, after all, I'm quite certain everybody found out they cost him 150 points. Honestly, if I was one of the older kids, I probably would have taken to the side and had a good long talk about what I'd do to them if they cost our house, because we're supposed to be family.
Right, so Neville, enough of this. These three peers have already cost us enough. I'll stop you. He even puts up his fist, which is a very unmagical thing to do. Usually you would take your wand out and threaten something, but he's about to punch him with like a boxing stance. And Hermione rolls her eyes. It's like, oh, it's just Neville. She does some paralyzing spell.
Petrifica Totalis.
They walk over his now frozen body.
And they're apologizing all the while, which is the best part of this.
Sorry, yeah.
You deserve this. Is basically Ron saying it there.
Right, yeah, you had yourself to blame for this one.
We're going to go ahead and head to that wonderful room, using the invisibility cloak to sneak there so nobody can find them. Strangely, this time, Filch and Miss Norris are nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, wow. The one time where, gee, maybe it would have been good if they caught him to stop him. But no.
It's not like these trio have been talking about the secret of the school for like the entire year.
And I love how easy it is to get into Fluffy's room too. A simple Alhamora.
I truly do believe they want whoever's stupid enough to open that door to get eaten by Fluffy.
Right, hey, if you want to be eaten by a three-headed dog, good luck on that. They sneak in, and to their surprise, the dog's already asleep. They're like, oh, there's an enchanted harp playing some like sweet little lullaby on it, and they're like, well, I guess someone beat us. Oh, wait, no, that's not good. Snape's already in there. We gotta follow him right away.
This is like a 15-foot tall dog.
20, 15, 18, yeah, somewhere in that range.
And you know what? They're able to push off one of the paws easily, all three of them.
And then they're all talking about, oh, I don't want to go down there. Do you want to go there? No, I don't want to go down there. there. The music behind them stops. And there's a pretty cool effect. They show the one of the dogs' eye flashes open. You see like the irises and the bloodshot in the eye. Drool drips down from one of the heads.
Harry was going to go down first and tell them to come down, feel safe, but you know what? Time to leave.
Yep, they all jump just in time as the huge muzzles try to get them.
And they land in Devil's Snare.
Dog's the first trap. Devil's Snare is now the second. So they're trapped in these huge vines. It's like a living creature of vines all over the place.
That snares you. And you know what? Thanks to Hermione's quick thinking, she identifies it quickly and says, just relax. Because apparently if you relax, it won't snare you.
So Hermione knew that. Harry's able to relax and do that. But poor old Ron, he can't relax. He's too stressed from all this. And Hermione's rolling her eyes. All right, what was that thing? All right, and she uses a enlightening spell where it does like a solar blast over it. And
because of a nice little limerick that she remembered about the Devil's Snare. Because it doesn't like lice. That's why she uses this spell. Best part about this entire scene is when Ron goes, thank goodness none of us panic. So let's move on to the third trap.
So now we're in a room with a broom levitating near the ground. Keys flying all over the place with wings on them. I'm like, wow, that's weird. Yes, we're going to have our Quidditch portion of the traps here.
And to be fair, you know, this is actually one of the few times that Ron actually uses his brain. He tries to use the Alhambra on the door to unlock it, so I'll give him credit for that.
He tried it and he looks all dopey. Well, it was worth a shot.
And then they figure it out that it has to be an old key, and right there's a broken wing.
Old key with the broken wing on it. Second he gets on the broom, these keys go into hyperspeed. They start to circle around like a tornado, like an angry hornet swarm. And now Harry has to use his flying and Quidditch skills. He has to chase after the old key with the broken wing, while all these other keys are now like darts going right after him.
This trap seems the most deadly, but honestly isn't, because he's sworn for quite a while by these things.
So yeah, he grabs the key, they all unlock it, they jump out the door, and all the keys hit the door like darts.
But the thing is, they don't penetrate into the door, they just slam
No,
against
because you look on the other side, there's no holes at all. It just slams in and they just like their points sort of stick into it. Right?
And it's sort of anticlimactic, because I mean the Devil's Snare was a lot more interesting to me than this.
Yes, and also makes you wonder, how did the person who won previously do all this? But they don't explain that. He had to beat all these traps as well in the same order.
Honestly, since the traps seem to be worked entirely on the fact of using that broom, well, you know what? We kind of find out in a later scene that, you know, he can fly without a broom. I just want to point this out.
Yeah, he might have just levitated or called it to him.
Which raises the point, why is the broom there to begin with?
Logical fallacies in this, like why are you letting objects lay there so they can beat your traps? I don't know, but hey, that was it. So now this room is actually one of the best. Remember we mentioned there was wizard's chess earlier in the movie?
Foreshadowing!
That's right, this is what it was building up to. We're gonna play wizard's chess for real. This time it's for real. So it's a life-size version of wizard's chess.
And you know what's weird about it? You see all the broken pieces around there. There's new reformed pieces, but you know what? You see that two pieces haven't reformed entirely, and there's one that's only partially reformed.
Yeah, oh wow, it's a good thing we have 3 people. That worked out well. So yeah.
Strangely enough, you know, that chosen curse going on right there.
They each take different positions, I think.
Ron takes a knight. He's only good at playing chess.
Alright, so there's Ron's specialty. So yeah, so now we're gonna have an 8-team type montage without the fun 8-team situation. All these chess pieces exploding and the whole action playing out. And then we get towards the end of the game where the montage ends. Alright, I know what to do. Ron's like, that's it. And Harry's like, no, Ron, don't do it.
Actually says, check. So yes, so after Ron sacrifices himself, Harry's going to swoop in and put the king in checkmate. You know what?
No, I don't know.
Even Ron recognizes that Harry's the hero here, and he's meant to go on by himself.
That's true. It's kind of funny how even you're self-aware in a movie. This movie knows that Harry is the chosen one. He has to be the hero. Forget us. We don't matter. Harry's meant to be you. Why? I don't know. But it's in the title.
Isn't it strange how nobody is helping you except for us?
So yeah, so they set it up that Harry has to go on. And the book played a little different. We're not going to get into that. We're only talking movie universe. So Hermione stays with Ron to help him out. I'll get him to safety. Don't worry. You go on and get the stone. That's it.
Now it's time for Harry to face off against what he thinks is Severus Snape. But you know what?
It's not Snape. It's dum-da-da-dum-da-da-da.
Quirrell!
What? That guy wearing the turban?
Who was acting even shiftier than Snape the entire movie?
Right. So yes, it was not Snape. Cross out this red herring guy, get him out of here. Quirrell the whole time.
And you know what? He's stuck at the last one because he can't figure out how to get the Philosopher's Stone. I mean, Sorcerer's Stone.
So he's standing at the mirror the whole time, and then Harry shows up, and then Quirrell's gonna be like, well, no, well, I get the stuff.
And you know what? Harry's very understanding to the guy that's been trying to kill him all year.
Yeah, he's very nice. He's asking like questions. Oh, so did you do this? Yeah. Did you? Oh, yeah.
And then suddenly, you hear a voice.
You don't have Strength Master. I do for this. Who is that? Big reveal, and this is a cool part. Quirrell will start to unwrap the turban on his head, and you see this disgusting, like, mangled face attached to the back of his bald head.
And you know who it is? It's Voldemort.
Voldemort. Uh-oh, we said the name, yes.
He explains everything about why the unicorn blood was needed.
Tried to kill Harry, and how I would have, and I was behind the troll, and you think it was Snape, it was me the whole time, and I need the stone. And like, wow, he pulled a James Bond. He's gonna tell the hero the whole storyline and why he was behind everything he was doing before he killed Harry.
Oh, and by the way, Harry is not resisting any of this in the least.
Harry, get over here. I was like, all right. And he walks right over, like, shrugs and snaps his finger. Flames appear everywhere. I'm like, wow, what a cool magic trick. He should go in Vegas with that trick. What causes Harry to change is Voldemort gives him some nonsense. Oh, I'll be able to bring your parents back if you help me. They'll be with you again. All you have to do is give me the stone. So Harry got the stone because he looked at the mirror Erised, which happens to be there. And the stone suddenly appears in his pocket because in the mirror it appeared in his pocket. And then in real life it appeared in his pocket. And Voldemort's aware that happened. So when he tells him about the parents coming back to life, Harry realizes you're lying. But we can rule together. It'll be great. It'll be Harry and Voldemort.
You know how evil always promises you that?
Yes.
We can always rule together when it's just like, give me that, I'm going to kill you.
Right, give me that and then I'll kill you off in a second.
Why doesn't he just attack him? Then suddenly he goes, get him, Quirrell, kill him. So, the guy snaps his fingers, can create a blazing inferno, decides to suddenly fly at him and strangle him.
It's like, all right, so we're wizards, and now all of a sudden we're not going to use magic. Well, why? Are you getting pleasure out of, like, strangling him to death, Voldemort? Is that what you want to do here?
Absolutely. This part just, something similar to this happens in the book, too. So it's absolutely makes no sense.
Logic flies out the window a lot in these movies, and I can't wait to get to the next week. Please stay tuned for our next one. The logic's really going to fly out the window.
Especially after Harry touches him, and his hand turns to ashes.
And he's looking at his hand as it disintegrates. Voldemort's like, I
Get
don't
him,
care,
fool.
get him. Yeah, so Voldemort's not even concerned that something weird's going on.
Well, here's the thing. This guy shows that he can fly already. Why didn't he fly up out of his reach? As you will find out later in movies, there's a killing curse. Why didn't they just not go zap?
Harry then realizes, wait a minute, something weird's going on here. He touches his face, and that's it. A chain reaction happens. Quirrell starts to rock and react to it. His whole body starts to turn into ash as he fades away, and yeah, he killed him. So even Harry looks at his hands like, hey, I did that? Hey, that's pretty cool.
As he turns away to pick up the dropped Sorcerer Stone, Voldemort's shadow appears, his soul, I guess, flies right through Harry, knocking Harry out, and this is one of those things that makes you go, what just happened here?
Alright, I know there's ghosts in this world, but what is, well, whatever, magic, we're not gonna look further into it. So, yeah, now we have one of the ending scenes. So, Harry awakens, he's in a hospital bed, he has lots of cards and candy all over his bed, and Dumbledore walks in to give the conclusion here of what happened. Oh, Dumbledore, what happened? Yes, Harry, and he gives his whole speech here. Why was I able to kill him with my touch? Well, this is the famous quote, love, Harry. Love. So yes, because Harry's mother died protecting him through a loving act of sacrifice, that love now gave him a barrier that's Voldemort's weakness or some nonsense like that. But that is from the book.
So apparently, what I can take away from this movie is that love stops magic. And love will kill you too.
Yeah, love's deadly. We find out that explanation and they're like, oh, is Voldemort dead? Well, Harry, I don't think you can end him that. We have 7 more movies to do, so no, I don't think he's dead, unfortunately.
Oh, absolutely. After all, we might split that last movie into 2.
That's it. We find out everything that happened. He's fine. Ron is recovered. He's fine. Time for the end point. And this is one of the funniest. I always find this funny. I'm sure you guys don't find it funny. You think nothing of it. I find this a hilarious part of the movie. The end tally points that he's going to get them each house.
Oh, yes, after all, we got to decide who the winner of the House Cup is.
So the points do matter. Yes, when you lose in game points, you're building to a House Cup. Whoever had the most points on the last day of school wins the quote-unquote House Cup. And it's usually Slytherin. That's from the book. The movie didn't really explain it. So it's Slytherin again. The banners are all in the green. Slytherin's all happy. We're going to win it. And now Dumbledore goes into troll mode here. We already had a troll in the movie. Now we have another troll in how Dumbledore acts here.
You mad, bruh? Because after all, they announce the winners in the most...
He draws it out so, like, poetically. In 4th place, have Gryffindor. Whatever.
Yeah, at that point, the people should be throwing cups at Harry and the...
It's too fresh, yeah. And then we have Hufflepuff, and then we have Ravenclaw. The winner of House Points would be Slytherin, and yay, they go crazy, alright, yeah.
As if you don't know who's won already, because the banners are already green while they're walking in.
Right, so yeah, it's not a surprise, you already had a banner. And Dumbledore's like, okay, I'm glad I built that up here. Glad I got you all excited here, this is great. And he holds his hands up. Wait a minute. I got more to say.
Due to the fact that they saved the world from Voldemort, I'm going to add a few more points in right now. You know that Harry's been out for days and could have done it well before then.
Dumbledore, are you allowed to do that? I'm the headmaster. I can do whatever I want, and I'm gonna just award some random points here. So Dumbledore's gonna cheat.
No, he's not cheating. He's just doing this because apparently he does not like Slytherin.
So he's like, for their bravery, I'm gonna reward more points. 50 points to Hermione Granger for her brilliant whatever. So, oh, yeah. That's 50 more points.
Best game of chess we're on. And you know what? We now have the actual point score. We know how much points you get for killing a Dark Lord. And it's 60. Even video games aren't that harsh. Trust me, we play a lot of them.
You beat the boss of the whole kingdom, the evilest guy, and we're going to throw you at 60 points. So now the score is tied. Like, oh, we're tied with Slytherin. But wait, there's another point. Wait. For his bravery in standing up to his friends, I give Neville Longbottom 10 points. So that means Gryffindor wins. Yay! Wait a minute, what? For Neville standing up to them and getting frozen, you're gonna give him 10 points? Are you really doing this, Dumbledore?
You know, shouldn't there have been like some consequences for Hermione just like using a spell on another student?
Exactly, you used an illegal spell to stun a student, but we'll overlook that because Neville said, I'll fight you. You're gonna give him 10 points. Boy, your point system, Dumbledore, I'll tell you, you're very lenient on this.
Well, also don't forget, and this is revealed later, he used to be the headmaster of Gryffindor, so I mean,
yes,
this could be favoritism.
The fix was in, folks. Let's be honest here. He's like, all right, with that being the case, change those banners. And he snaps his fingers, and all the banners turn into Gryffindor. Gryffindor wins. It's like, oh my god. You should see the look on Draco's face. He wants to kill Dumbledore for what he just.
Well,
did.
no, it's just not him. It's every person in Slytherin.
So I always find this scene funny. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, guys. But I always found it so funny, and even the book I laughed. So that's how it ends at Hogwarts. And now we have one final scene to wrap up everything.
And now that they're done there, we got to have the wonderful, happy and sappy scene of them going their own ways. They're like, it's time to go home. And Harry's like, nope, I'm not going home. Basically saying Hogwarts is his home.
Hogwarts is his home. Home is prison for him. They have a sappy little ending, which I thought was great. He walks up to Hagrid, and Hagrid's like, what? Thought you were going to leave without saying goodbye? Hagrid gives him a picture. It's of him as a baby with his parents. It's a great one of those moving pictures that gives Hagrid a hug. And then the train chugs away, and there you go. That's our ending.
And that's the end of it.
That's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. A great movie. A lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, we had just as much fun reviewing this as making fun of it, too.
Exactly. Now, what we always do in our reviews is we give a final review, our thoughts on what we thought of the overall movie on a scale of 1 to 5, with 5 being our best score. And as always, Vespor is our top wizard here, so he gets to go first. What do you think of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone on a scale of 1 to 5?
Well, I'm not going to be around the bushes on this. I give this movie a good and solid 4 out of 5 stars. The movie is really good. It keeps your interest, it builds to a climax, and then you have catharsis at the end. There was a lot of interesting things here. And you know what? Even though we didn't want to talk a lot about the books and compare them to the movie, the fact that this movie stayed very close to the books helped me enjoy it even more, because when you see a movie adaptation of the book, you don't want to see exactly the same thing, but you want to see it be true to the book. And this movie was very true to the book, and I loved all the characters. There was excellent acting done, and you know what? This movie was great, and I can't wait to see the other movies, which I have, because this was so good. It was true to the books. And most of all, you're respecting the fans that love the material.
You know, I really love this movie. This is one of my favorite movies, and I don't say that many movies, and hopefully we'll review some of my favorites. I think we will, but this is a great movie. One of my all-time favorites. I remember seeing this in the theaters, and I was so mesmerized. It was such a great recreation of the book. This is probably one of the best recreations of the book. A lot of the other movies are going to deviate very much from the book, leave a lot out, condense a lot of stuff. This movie did leave a few things out, but nothing that was really important. And I loved it. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. I'm going to go even higher than Vespor. I really love this movie. One of the best. And another aspect I like about that we didn't talk about too much is the music. Soundtrack is done by John Williams, one of the best composers out there. The music is brilliant in this. Themes playing all the while all the situations are going on, and the main theme and the Hedwig song, it is so memorable, so iconic. This belongs as one of the best soundtracks, and that also makes this movie so memorable. But the acting is great. Every single kid and adult they got here played the parts perfectly. You really thought these characters were jumping right out of the book onto the screen. They couldn't have cast any better. I love the actor they got for Dumbledore, one of my favorites. Unfortunately, I only did 2 of the movies, and we'll talk about in the next movie what unfortunately happens with him. I love all the actors here. Daniel Radcliffe really came into his own. Rupert Grint was perfect as Ron. Emma Watson was great as Hermione. And the story played out so well. You don't really feel any slow time. You're like, oh, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? The story just keeps playing and playing, building up on everything, and it plays out perfectly. This is a movie everybody can enjoy and love. There's a reason why this movie did so well and why the franchise took off from this movie. It's like a love letter from Chris Columbs saying, I love this story. I am going to do it right, and he did it right. I am so glad we got to review it here. Hopefully it gets better from here. We'll see what happens next, but that's our feelings on Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Please let us know in the comments what you thought. Those were our thoughts of the movie. And now we're going to wrap this up for this episode of Vespors Retro Reviews. Thank you for joining us. As always, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and
Ring that bell.
that's right. We want to see you here. There's going to be a lot more reviews coming. We're going to do all 8 Harry Potter movies, so please stay tuned with us. We can't wait to get to all of them. We love the series. And that's it. See you next time on Vespors Retro Reviews. Take care, everybody. Thanks for joining us for Harry Potter celebration. A lot more to come. We'll see you all next time.
Goodbye, everybody.